Hey everyone, welcome to Healing Loudly, the podcast. I'm your co-host Ani Georgian,
And I'm Dana Skurlock.
and welcome to the first episode. We wanted to take this opportunity to just tell you a little bit about ourselves and where we come from. Dana and I have been best friends for 10 years at this point, and we come from very different backgrounds, but we always have these beautiful conversations with one another. And since we decided to create this podcast, Healing Loudly, we wanted to let you guys know what it means to us to heal loudly. So, Dana,
Hi.
tell us about yourself.
Hi, my friend. It's so good to see you.
So good to see you. I miss you so
I
much.
miss you so much. I know. We're on different coasts and so it makes it hard to see each other in person. But I am so excited about this platform. Number one, because I get to spend time with you.
I know. We get to actually hang out weekly now
I
in this way.
know.
It's really
It's
nice.
so amazing. Well, I remember it taking a lot of deliberation for us to come up with the title Healing Loudly. And what I
Yeah.
love about it is that it really represents both of our perspectives on being women and people of color in this world that can be, very affronting and problematic for people like us with our identities. And so to heal loudly to me means to be unapologetic. It means to take the things that have harmed you and bringing them to the forefront and not
I
shying
love
away
it.
from them and not being quiet about them and not explaining them away or laughing them off anymore, but to do it as loudly as possibly. And hopefully through that noise or through that loudness, I'm able to reach other people that are having similar experiences, and together we'll be even louder when it's a full group of us that are healing together. And what does healing look like? I mean, I think that's also a generic term that, we should define somewhat.
People
I
throw
think
that
that
around a lot these
people throw
days.
that
Like the
term
word
around a
healing is
lot,
like
right?
everywhere, but like what is it for you?
What does healing mean to me? Healing means to me to no longer apologize for who I am and how I show up in the world.
Hell
I will
yeah.
know I'm healed when I'm able to do that in any situation, anytime, within any group. And I do not mask myself or hide the things that make me. When that happens and that happens consistently, I will feel like I'm healed. And I feel like the only way I can do that is by doing these things very loudly, which is why we came up with this title, because I feel like I've tried to heal quietly and it's not happening.
Mhm.
So clearly something needs to
Yeah.
change. And I think that having this platform is going to be like helpful for other people, but also for us just going through this process together and hearing feedback from people listening and hearing about other people's experiences. I'm hoping as a collective, we'll all be able to heal loudly together.
Yes,
What
that's
does
how.
healing loudly mean to you, Ani?
My goodness. It means a lot of what you shared, and it's a little more visceral for me. So, I also came from a place where I was expected to be quiet and not take
Yeah.
up so much space with my personality, with my exuberance, with my joy, with my anger, with like the
Mm,
intensity of my emotions. And for me, healing loudly means being able to actually physically use my voice and my body in ways that bring me back home to the truth of who I really am. So for me,
mm,
healing loudly is actually being loud about my beliefs and my experiences and my desires and my needs. And as you said, not apologizing for those things, but also using the voice specifically in a way that normalizes the like complexity of just being a person. Like
yeah.
we can't be expected to just be quiet and nice all the time. The wholeness of humanness is having the full spectrum of emotions. And so to me, to actually heal the body like somatically is to voice the things that typically remain unsaid in
Mm,
ourselves, and to talk about the experiences that people tell us not to talk about, the experiences that we're expected not to shed light to, mainly because there are consequences for those things. So for me, healing loudly is sharing my experiences, coming back home to myself, the truth of myself, and the methods that I used and am continuing to use to get there. I want to share my knowledge with people on somatic healing, on breath work, on the use of the voice, because those are the primary mediums that have helped me come back home to myself. And if there's anything that I've learned that could be of any use to someone else, let this platform be the place to share it.
I love that so much. I can't even tell you how like exciting it is for me to see you get into this somatic work and this healing work that you do professionally, because you've always been someone in my life that is super outspoken, super supportive and empathetic, but is never afraid, at least like in my perspective, never afraid to speak their mind and never afraid to give their opinion. And so to just even know that you struggle with those things as well, and I'm sure to most people I come across as a very confident,
I was just
you know,
gonna say, like, you absolutely come across as those things too, which is funny that you
yeah,
mentioned that in your healing because you don't at all, I don't perceive you as not
yeah,
doing that at all.
yeah. I feel like most people at home would describe themselves as somebody who expresses how they feel most of the time accurately. But at the same
Mhm.
time, it
Is
just
that really
shows you
true?
how many systems are at play stifling those things, that even people who want to make a podcast, that want their voice to be heard, even people that are actors like us or performers like us, we still struggle with those, with being authentic in spaces. And a lot of that has to do with like the systems of oppression that are at play. Certainly, as people of color, that's something that we're going to deal with as women. We're going to deal with living in a patriarchal society. But at the same time, I think it's a universal human experience to struggle being yourself.
Yeah,
And, you know, part of that healing journey, I think, is also figuring out who you even are. Like, I'm
that
42 years
part.
old. I don't know who exactly I am. If you were to ask me, who are you? I could tell you a lot of things either that I've done, accomplished, or facts about people around me, but who I believe I am at my core is a nebulous thing that is still developing. And I'm hoping that
Evolving as it should be.
yeah, ever evolving. And I'm hoping that being comfortable with that evolution and that continued evolution is another part of my healing that I want to bring to the platform. Is just accepting yourself in all of those different phases and
Yeah.
accepting yourself being in a position where you don't have all the answers yet. Like, I'm someone who I want to know what's happening when it's happening and be sure about it. And it's just going to make me feel more comfortable as I move through the space. But that's not life. So that's something that you have to be comfortable with the unexpected. And
And
I
the
think that's part
unknown.
of, and the unknown.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that I need to heal from, is the expectations of knowing what's going to happen when it's going to happen and being comfortable with that. And
Yep.
just understanding that things are always going to be evolving, including myself.
Mhm.
Um, when you think about the like audience that we might be, you know, communicating with, what do you hope that they're going to get out of Healing Loudly for themselves? Like, every week, can they expect to get something that they, you know, what are they going to be able to get that they can't get in another podcast? Is essentially what I'm
Mm.
asking.
Well, I think for one, you and I come from very different backgrounds, and so
Yeah.
the topics that we're going to be talking about that I think a lot of people relate to, we are going to bring our individual perspectives on it. So, for example, I'm a first generation child of immigrants, and my parents immigrated here almost 40 years ago from post Soviet Armenia, right? So there's some very specific things that I grew up with in the household and some very specific expectations, but also living and growing up in America, I've had to really traverse the line of assimilating with Americanness while still
Mm,
maintaining the heritage of my Armenianness. And because because that is there's no blueprint for that, and it's not an easy thing to do to discover who you are when there's certain expectations of you in order to fit in and to make friends and to professionally get ahead. The What I'm hoping to share here is my experiences of taking the time to dismantle the beliefs that were instilled in me in order to explore who I've always been at my core, when I'm not
mm,
worried about meeting the external expectations, like what it has looked like for me to jump into the unknown and take risks and to face my fears and be brave amidst the things that I was taught to fear, and to speak up about the things that I was taught not to speak up about, you know. Uh, and on the other hand, as a musician and an actor, as you are as well, we both have so much experience on stage and navigating the entertainment industry as women of color. So then we bring that perspective too. But I'm also, again, in like the wellness world and the healing world. And so I have a lot of evidence based science and knowledge behind trauma and the way that trauma impacts the body and the way that it impacts the way that we show up in our day to day. So I'm hoping to share somatic practices and reflective questions and exercises that we can do together using the voice so we can be more comfortable speaking our minds and becoming like evolving together as a collective so that we can say the things that we need to say to keep progressing forward as individuals and also as a society,
Yes, as a community, you're absolutely right. And one thing I was thinking about earlier is something I want our platform to be unique in is that we
Demon,
provide
tell me.
opportunities to continue the work past just the podcast. I feel like most podcasts, which is
Yeah.
totally like, which isn't a negative, but just with most podcasts, you're listening to content. And then once the podcast ends, that's really where it stops. What we want with every episode is that you take away ideas, exercises, things that you can take into your day-to-day life that reflect how you're going to be able to heal loudly in your own
Mm.
life. And so there's going to be practical suggestions that you're going to be able to take away from every episode. And I think that's going to be something that is going to be unique for our platform. I also think, going back to just like, our different backgrounds and things, I'm a girl from Ohio. Father and mother are both foundational Black Americans from Tennessee. And for those of you that don't use that term, I hope you will consider using it. But a foundational Black American is someone who is a descendant of slaves in this country, victims of chattel slavery, of the transatlantic slave trade in the Americas, specifically in, I would say, the United States. And I make that distinction simply because, I think there is a difference in experience amongst the African diaspora. And we're
Yep.
getting to the point now where we actually are able to communicate with one another throughout the diaspora through social media. And so I think we've been able to identify what some of those differences and experiences are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always just want to highlight in my background that I am the descendant of slaves in the United States. And I think that that is a particular identity, which I'm sure in future episodes we will get into. But that's my background, in terms of my upbringing. My parents were married for almost 45 years.
Yeah.
I have two sisters. I went to college in Ohio, but I've moved to New York City since then, and I've been here for about 20 years. I used to live in London for a while after college. So I've always been a bit of an adventurer and always into the arts, majored in theater in college. And, all of that just to say that I've had a lot of different types of experiences in a lot of different places. And so my Blackness, my femaleness, whether it was like at
Mm-hmm.
school at an all white, predominantly white school in Ohio, or if it was in London, or if it's here in New York where it's completely multicultural, like my Blackness and my femaleness has shaped all of those experiences.
Yep.
And so I'm hoping that, we're going to be able to dive into the nuances of that in a
Mm-hmm.
deeper way than a lot of podcasts do. And one thing I love about, speaking with you, Ani, always is that we challenge each other. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be a place where we're just going to trauma dump, or we're
Yeah.
just going to discuss our opinions on certain big issues as if our opinions are facts. We're really going to be diving into these issues and challenging each other to think about them in new and different ways. And we're hoping that that discourse is going to allow other people to continue those conversations at home.
Yeah, and like
Um,
reflect and just like
yes.
we want you guys to be able to take what we're talking about and apply it to how you're showing up in your day to day, because our intention is how would we live if we could create our lives without fear? How many decisions are we making in our day to day that are just based on fear? Fear of consequences, fear of not fitting
Rejection.
in, fear of rejection, fear of physical harm, fear of like not surviving something. I mean, there's so many places we can go with this, but
Yeah.
essentially, we would love for you all to join us for these conversations.
And we also want to have fun. We are
Yes.
two two people
Kidding.
that really, really enjoy each other's company, and we laugh a lot and make a lot of jokes. And so I'm hoping that while we're discussing some really like difficult subject matter, we are also going to be able to have a little bit of fun and find some levity. And I hope people are going to be able to enjoy that too, because I think that's a big part of healing too, is learning to like not take yourself
Yes.
so seriously and not be afraid of like how you come across to other people. Like even just creating this podcast, we have fears of what people will think, and do people think it's entertaining enough? Will they not like it? Like those are normal things that everybody grapples with, and that I'm learning to deal with even at 42, that
Yeah.
you continue dealing with your whole life. And so I'm hoping that this podcast is also going to be a place to like alleviate those fears. And it's going to be a safe space, because I always feel safe with you, but this is going to be a safe space even
I feel
for
safe with
ourselves.
you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. That makes me so happy.
Always, always,
And we want
always.
that safe space and that safety between us to extend to the audience too. Like, we want
Yeah.
you guys to know that this is a safe space to express ideas, and to really like interrogate systems, things,
Question
internal
everything, motherfuckers.
question
Question everything.
everything.
Everything. Question what you know, question who you are, question it all. That's the only
Yeah,
place that growth is going to actually happen.
that's right. That's absolutely right. Well, I am really looking forward to diving into a lot of these topics in the future. But for today, what do you think, Ani, would be like the best way to consume Healing Loudly? Like, once you listen to a podcast, how can you engage with us further?
Mm. How can you engage with us further? Well,
Yeah,
you can follow
as a
Healing
listener.
Loudly the podcast on Instagram. You can follow Healing Loudly the podcast on TikTok, or you can email us thoughts, questions, stories that you would like us to consider and share at healingloudlythepodcast@gmail.com. And we're looking forward to building a community and getting to know you all and seeing who we can reach, who's impacted by what we have to say.
And who needs to heal? Let's do it together.
Oh my god, we all do. We all do. I firmly believe that everyone has healing to do, even if they believe that they don't. And I don't think that healing is ever done. I think we're
Mm,
all
in
there's always
progress.
going to be another layer somewhere, but there is a base.
Yeah, I want to reach that. I want to reach that baseline. I want to reach that baseline with you, right? Like, I want to reach a place where I may not be fully healed, but I show up as a healed person in most spaces. Like, that I think is going to be my goal for this
Yes.
season. And it may, and I need to, be comfortable with it taking some time, but I think that between the two of us, we have a much better chance of reaching these things together, right?
I think
Um
so
yes.
too. Yeah. There's only
Well,
so much that you can do in isolation and on your own, but there comes
that's
a
right.
point where you need to heal in community and have like
Mm.
corrective experiences with people who are on the same page as you. And that's going to be really important for moving forward.
Well, thank you so much, Ani. It's a pleasure as always. We are so happy that you all are here. We're going to be dropping a new episode every week, and we're going to be discussing some very important, interesting, and sometimes difficult topics, but we're going to get through it together. So stay tuned. Sending you lots of love.
Bye. See ya.